a show about men's mental health. I am your host. Well, not host. I'm Alex Hennon, and I'm here by.
What's wrong? Hi.
Are you good?
Yeah, I was just making sure of something, but yeah, I'm Micah. You know who I am, the black guy.
Who are you?
Micah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, we got some new people today. We also got.
I'm Jan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, bro. We have.
I am Vern. I am here in existence.
And we have no one else.
We also have Angie.
We also have Angie, but she'll be on.
Good Angie.
She'll be on a bit. So this is going to be very interesting. Season 6. We are back once again. This is my first episode on season 6, so I'm really excited for that.
I may have to pee soon.
Mike has been like, I need water for multiple hours.
That's fine.
Because I was dehydrated while talking to Dr. Paul.
Shout out to Dr. Paul. So yeah, we'll get right into things. So before we start, though, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We also have a Spotify, Instagram, wherever you're listening to this too. And let's get down to business.
So today we're talking about diversity and friendships. Because from what I've noticed on our college campus and just in general from what my family has commented on, they comment that our friendship is very diverse. Our friend community, our group of people that we hang out with is very diverse, and something that I appreciate, and that's kind of like what I thrive off of. I like people that are different than me, and just I want to learn things that I can learn something from them, and that's really just what I enjoy. And it adds a lot of flavor, and just it gives me a new experience for context. I grew up, my high school was predominantly African American. Not to say that I didn't have white people at my high school, but any sense of diversity was mostly from white friends or Hispanic friends. I never had Asian friends or friends from Germany. I never kind of experienced that. So being at a university and just being an adult in our society kind of sort of requires that you meet different types of people, and I like it. I think that's kind of what makes the glue of our community.
I 100% agree. I think the special thing about college is you find people from you find people from anywhere pretty much, like Germany. I have friends from Nigeria, Australia. I don't know how the heck they found RMU, but I'm glad they did.
Lacrosse. They came for lacrosse. Well, so I want to ask you, Jan.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Carl Jung.
I'm horrible with names.
Yeah.
This show knows I'm horrible with names. So how did you find out about RMU?
So to introduce me, I'm Jan. I'm an exchange student from Dortmund University, which is in Germany, as you might have heard. I'm here at RMU basically because it's a partner institution of my university. I did not look up or find RMU by myself. I'm here since January 13th, so maybe 3 weeks now as the time of we record this. I would say I grew up in a pretty diverse neighborhood, so we had lots of Turkish, Arab immigrants especially. So I'm a bit used to having a diverse background, but I realized that diversity is much more than just race, ethnicity. There's so many different characters, and this for me is much more important than your look from the outside. And I would say you can get along with people from any country. It's much more important how their personality is. And that being said, I think university here is not too different from at home because it's still a Western country. Still the people have the same struggle. Of course, there's some differences, but I would say I haven't had a big culture shock yet. But yeah, I also enjoy getting to know people from all over the world. So the other internationals, they're from Australia, Kenya, India, Canada. So basically all continents. So a lot of diversity here in RMU. I like to see when I go shopping in another country. Yeah.
I just like diversity. I don't know. You'll like the Strip District. The Strip District is not about... people that aren't from Pittsburgh think the Strip
District?
It has a bunch of strip clubs.
It doesn't I promise you that's not true.
It's just it just has a bunch of diverse supermarkets from Asia. That's the ones that we went to when we went to strip district. I was about to say strip club, but
at the club.
But yeah, it's diverse. I love it. I think for me, having diverse friends, people that from different backgrounds helped me to grow as a person. I think a lot of people have a lot of things to offer you that you just that you can't really give to yourself. A lot of like culture and a lot of just values. They can also reinforce the values that you already kind of carry. Because I think like people think that just because we're from different cultures and that means we don't value the same things, but it's just we express them in different ways. So yeah.
And you can learn a lot from people from different backgrounds. I would say in every culture you find something you like and you find something you don't like. And for me, it's like I try to catch up the things that I like and try not to catch up the things that I don't like, and therefore try to form my own kind of personality culture that is influenced by the good things from everywhere.
So everyone in this room, you kind of met some of our friends this morning. I would like you to answer, how have you benefited from having like our friend group being diverse? How have you benefited, or in what ways have you benefited from our friend group being diverse?
Well, that's actually a good question. I mean, you get to learn like other backgrounds and stuff like that. So first it was really cool at my freshman year, because my school, it wasn't really more of a race thing. It was more of like a class thing. It was like majorly like just white, pretty much. But college, like you get to learn a lot of other different cultures and people around the world. So I think that's also that's really cool.
So you're saying it's benefited you from just being able to like expand your mind?
Yeah, it expands the mind a little bit.
Vern.
How about you,
I'm
Vern?
being stared at.
That's right.
Okay.
Speak.
I will speak. My high school, I would say, was maybe 60% white, 40% black, nothing else. And it was split, like the white people did not like us and the black people did not like them. And as a mixed person, I had one friend. He was not it. But since coming here, meeting...
He's not it.
He was not it. After I came here and met people, like, it was bizarre. It is bizarre having more than one friend, and it is bizarre having friends who, are themselves and embrace that and like to be themselves and aren't.
I think it's better because we're all now like adults officially now, so it's like
Legally.
Yes. Legally, yes. There's some people who don't act like adults, but legally speaking, yes.
I don't feel like an adult sometimes.
Me neither. To be fair. Like for example, I just turned 21 like a few weeks ago.
Oh, for us, adulthood means 18.
Oh, well, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same here. 18 is like the...
We can talk about adulthood.
It's like, it just feels weird sometimes, every age.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. But coming back to your story, I'd say that it's pretty important to say that diversity does not necessarily mean to be a good thing or a bad thing. So there are some struggles that come with diversity. I experienced them myself in my school in Germany. Like we have basically 50% white German Central European people and 50% the rest with Arabs and Turkish people being dominant. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it was not cool to be a white German dude on the schoolyard when everyone was talking about how they like had families in all different countries, and I'm just like, yeah, I only have family in Germany, which was pretty boring. And then some people like they didn't really respect different cultures, or for example, we had some Turkish kids that really hated the Syrian and Kurdish kids and stuff like that. So there are lots of challenges and racism. I don't know if I would call it racism, but xenophobia, like cultural clashes. So this is also something that needs to be addressed. But I think when people grow older, they should mature and they should realize that it's not really so important where you come from, but it's much, like I said earlier, it's much more important what's inside of you. And then you can also recognize the cultural differences. You can laugh about them. You can laugh about your stereotypes in a respectful manner. Yeah. And you can adapt things from, like I said, from all different types of cultures and like really embrace the world and its diversity in not only ethnicity, but also personality, like I said.
I do have questions for you, but I'll wait till you finish chewing on your sandwich. Yeah, I think it's amazing to have that, because then, and I think even like in diverse communities, you feel more inclined to be yourself because everybody is also themselves. Like Vern said, they're already kind of like being like authentic in themselves with our culture. So I think people just naturally feel inclined to just relax and just be themselves because there's no like pressure to kind of conform when you're like learning something from like a different culture. Like I'm not like conforming to you because you're teaching me how German culture is, which I find very fascinating. And I think we could all of us could really, and I don't know how like I don't want to compare like other communities on campus, but like I don't necessarily see that like to the degree that we have our diversity. It's like literally like anyone just some like can show up at my apartment and we could just, thrive. And I talked to a friendship psychologist like the on the episode of the friendship psychologist Marissa Franco, and she like even commented on that like yeah, people like even if we might not think that we thrive better in diverse communities, but we do. And I think it's something to be okay with. I think too, like what you mentioned is a bit eye-opening because I think for us, like when living together, it's the first time we've probably lived with a different race. For me, it is.
Yes, for
Yeah.
me it is. Yeah.
So that experience is different.
I
So
I think in a good way as well.
yeah,
Because we come from we come from different backgrounds.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was cool to see how that operates
Mhm.
with each other.
And people would like assume like, oh, he's black, you're white, like you would never be close friends. But it's not really like it's really what really bridges us together is our diversity. And I think that's kind of what really makes the friendship kind of what's the word? Like kind of come alive or
I agree.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because we're like but we come from different backgrounds. And I feel like I think it's like what makes it fun, what makes it like I learned like so much about being Italian. I had many assumptions, but I'm starting to like to learn more about that culture and just also like, I like your family, like I'm very when I go over other people's houses, I'm very like hesitant to step in because I don't want to like infringe on their property or whatever. But your family is just very welcoming, and that's what I appreciate. So.
Yeah, and you have shown me a lot of different music. Cause like he like plays like some music sometimes. He has like a record player and sometimes on the TV. I'll just come in. I'm just bopping.
Yeah, I like to listen to different types of music.
Yeah.
Did you want to? Angie wants to say something.
Angie's been unmuted.
Thank you. Oh, that's loud.
I had a question.
Okay. Shoot.
I had a question about the diversity in Utah versus like how you feel about diversity like here.
Yeah. Well, I am from Utah, specifically Salt Lake City. So Utah is a place with in my opinion, a lot of diverse. There's a lot of Hispanic people. There's a lot of Asian communities. There's a lot of Polynesian as well. So you're definitely like exposed to a lot, and probably differing from popular opinion, Utah's known to be a Mormon state. It's not all just like white people. There's a lot of diversity in like any part that you go. So I feel like if anything, coming here, probably something that I miss the most is probably my Hispanic community because I am Hispanic and I've grown up with, that. So I think it's just something that you miss, but you learn to adapt. And not only that, but like you find different people as well. And you get to learn more. And sometimes like that's what you need. You need to learn from people that you maybe don't know that much about, or that you could, I don't know, just expand perspectives.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how would you how was there like a sense of social adjustment when you came to PA, like as far as diversity and as far as adjusting from like not being around that community or just
I mean, I think the most important thing is that like I was able to find some cohesiveness. However, I was able to find some cohesiveness with the people that I was approached by. Like you were the very first person that approached me. Like
through you, I was able to meet other people. So sometimes, like, yeah, like, I obviously miss that part because, like, sometimes, like, you can't particularly, like, upset about it. Like, I have found cohesiveness with the group that I have, and we're all, like, diverse in our own ways. But you find, like, you find you find comfort in that.
Yeah. And for Vern, how would you say like your adjustment from that you mentioned that being in this community, this friend group or however you want to say it, that you feel comfortable being yourself. You feel like no one is like in high school, like not being fake or wearing
I've
masks.
already thought on this. So it's been my entire life. In elementary, I was bullied for my skin color, which is why I moved. And then the high school I went to, I was excluded for being mixed. And I had one friend. And he left as soon as we graduated. And then I came here and I have so many friends. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be afraid anymore that if I lose a friend, I'm going to have nothing, because I know that I have enough friends that there will always be people to support me. And I am learning how to become myself. And it is great. It is very freeing.
Hey,
That is awesome.
That's so
Thank
nice
you,
to
thank you.
hear. But yeah, that's really nice to hear because that's really like the goal of what we kind of do with like our community is we, make sure that people like feel welcome. That's what I always like feel like is I feel that someone, at least in America, we've like had this conversation. People seem to be like waiting for someone else to like reach out to them or to develop a social connection. They have that sense of because we're just this perceived sense of because we're so different that we wouldn't be able to connect. But if I had that mindset, like, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I would like to add on to that. I just feel like overall you miss opportunity to create meaningful relationships when you are always like on the expectation that someone else has to do that and someone else has to initiate. Like you can initiate that as well. You can initiate like, a conversation or a relationship, and like you have no idea what you could be missing out on if you don't
Very
try.
true.
Yeah, like, we wouldn't have a lawyer if I never
No saying.
if I never talked to you. At that time, I was kind of like because I'm not like naturally like that. Like I feel like over time it became more like I had to like I kind of compartmentalized that self of me that wanted to initiate. So initially I wasn't initiating. I was so like weighed down by like things like social anxiety and like things like insecurity within myself that I felt like, why even try? So that's kind of like that high school mindset. And then like, transitioning into adulthood and talking with like the author Marissa Franco, she really like changed my mindset on this. Like, you like at some point, the reason why one of the factors I think in our loneliness society or whatever is that people have become I don't know like how to say this appropriately. Like we can sometimes become so like within ourselves, like, individualistic in a sense. Not that that's a total bad thing. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing, but we've become like that's being ingrained. That level of self-sufficiency where you're just like focusing on yourself, but there's people around you and you need to willfully kind of like seek that out. Granted, like I was rejected. Not everyone is open or open to like connecting, but if you are holding on to these narratives around culture that people won't accept me because of culture or I'm just gonna like I won't fit in or this person will find me weird. I feel like to a degree we're all afraid of our culture might influence our connections because we're like it's like a fear of like misunderstanding. There could be like language barriers. We've had to deal with that, with friends from different countries. And yes, it can be difficult, but you know what? Like I wouldn't change the way that I do friendship. Like I would just, like for example, like sometimes it would be hard to understand like Allie, for example, when she would like, say things. But sometimes in those cases, like what's valuable is really listening. And it's not necessarily always about like trying to totally understand like what the other person's saying is about being present. Sometimes all what matters is presence, and that presence is probably more important than you think.
And I would say like the story I ended up being here is pretty funny because I saw Micah like 3 times before in the university, and then this very morning we went up early to go to Groundhog Day celebration.
Yeah.
And I was sitting alone in the cafe, and then Micah just invited me over to sit with his friends. And then I sit down with his friends, and now I'm here at the podcast just because I ended up walking by the studio, and he like winked. What's the word? He waved. Yeah, wink is the German word. Waved at me and invited me to come in, and now I'm here on the podcast. So you have a very great personality. Like you don't care. You just wave people by and invite them to sit with you, and I think that's a really great character trait that you have.
Well, I'm very insecure about it, so that means a lot. My family like jokes that I'm like Mr. Rogers because I'm like can be very friendly.
Yeah.
Like I don't want people to think I'm weird by like being friendly, but I feel like in our society we kind of like John Tucci, he's like friendly with everyone, and I feel like in our society we've kind of like forgotten that because we're so like polarized, we're so afraid of. I think we're like, I don't know, we're afraid of that because we're so polarized. We're so like we can get into like, oh my gosh, you believe this, so this must mean about you. We're so like we kind of forget that they're just like a person, and I think that sense of common humanity we forget. But for me, I was very insecure about doing that, about just welcoming people, because I've had some people say I'm like too welcoming, but I think, I don't know, like I think it's something that we need in our culture. Again, I'm not saying like the value of American individualism is bad. I'm saying that there can be a balance where you honor your need for diversity in your life. Like you have some.
On the topic of diversity, I do want to bring up that I am disabled. And when I was in high school, that was something that I had to hide. I had to act normal because any type of abnormality was a weakness and you would be targeted. But now that I am here, I'm allowed to exist in my own skin. If I'm in pain, it's fine. I can just be in pain without having to worry. And everyone in our group at least is very accepting of that. And it is nice to just be able to breathe.
You can breathe. Yeah. That means a lot because like sometimes I worry that like people don't feel welcome, but I think like people feel welcome just because you welcome them, and I think that's kind of what's missing is that people can form groups that can become sort of exclusive, and we talked about this like earlier in the year with organizations like band. We're not trying to throw band under the bus or anything. We're not saying anything bad about band, but what we're saying is that the natural human thing is to kind of cluster in groups and to kind of like be exclusive. It's not like being intentionally like isolating, although in some cases there are those cases where there's intentional exclusivity. There are, but people seek a sense of common ground, and sometimes out of a natural, you're like really locked into this.
I'm locked in.
You're like
Locked.
This is my locked in pose.
And out of like a natural result of that, sometimes it's intentional and hurtful, but other times it's like not intentional. Sometimes it's just they have formed that, and but I think our group is different in that we're not like, it's literally just like anyone just like come to the table, come to the I think that's what real community is. It's like just come to the table, like find a seat. Now there can be problems with that, which I'll get into later. Yeah,
that is true.
I guess it's back to me again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The only reason I was able to find this group of excellent friends is because of you, Alex, because we met in band.
Yeah.
Without band, I probably would have found this group anyways, honestly, because Micah, you tracked down everyone who's sitting alone, how we have friends. Yay!
I can confirm that.
That's how they got me.
Yeah. Well, then I talked about Micah today earlier about this. When I came here, I was just like under the impression that Americans are very extrovert and they will all invite me to go to their house parties and stuff. And of course, it might have been a bit naive. Like I'm missing the word right now. Yeah, it might have been
Well, your expectation.
Expectation, exactly. Yeah. But I'm more like an extroverted person, so I kind of like waited for it to happen. Like I went to some threads, I went to some events, like a hockey game, basketball game, but it's not like, and it's not like that every person you meet you immediately like, and it's not, it's, you don't have to like, it's okay to, for like, if you don't vibe with a person, that says nothing about the person or yourself. But yeah, you told me a good lesson today that sometimes it is just like that you should just wave people over. And what the worst thing that can happen is the person thinks you're weird. They might think that for 2 weeks, and then they probably completely forget who you are. And that's like, nothing bad really happens, you know? And then I don't know how it is for people that are like by nature a bit more silent and introverted. They might struggle more with that and find it more inappropriate if you approach them. I don't know. That's maybe for another person to answer. But I feel like I would always love for someone just to come to me. But Verf, you have a different opinion on that.
I was the quiet person. I'm not quiet anymore. I didn't even know this version of my personality existed until coming into the group. I used to have a phobia of being loud, and then it just went away. So that was great.
Well, because I don't think anything gets my laugh. I don't know
just
if
that itself.
Yeah. You mentioned a few important points. Like, listen, in high school, people felt, because developmentally everything is weird in high school. That's developmentally, but and especially Royce, he would like he would just feel it was awkward, the fact that I would just approach him and try to develop a friendship with him. First, I have a comment on that. So a lot of young men, this is just my personal belief, a lot of young men are not equipped to initiate and to engage in friendships. That's just my personal belief. I feel like we're just not equipped because it's not really, that sort of emotional skill isn't really taught. But on other notes, I feel like our culture can sometimes reinforce the idea of like everybody's in their own world, personal bubble. Like we learn that, like don't talk to strangers. We learned that in school, which is good. Like we shouldn't just talk to strangers unless you're John Tucci. He talks to everybody. He talks to everybody, like literally. He talks to everybody.
We should get him on the show at some point.
Yeah, he talks to everybody. But you learn to not talk to strangers, and for me, I've come a long way because, I was bullied in middle school and high school. I was bullied for who I was. So I didn't know how to be comfortable in my own skin. And so once you become comfortable in your identity and your own skin, that is when you can feel that you can initiate social relationships. And I think we have to challenge this mindset that, okay, everybody already has their friends. Everybody already has their like group. Why should I like even try? Because I feel like that kind of reinforces like that American mindset of individualism. Like I should just, focus on myself. I should just focus on my work. I shouldn't focus on like getting to know someone from a different culture. Cause it's like, it does take a bit of work to understand someone from a different culture, to challenge those like unconscious biases, to challenge those, biases that we have. It does take work, but it's definitely like, is beneficial for you as a person. Another thing I will say is that, yes, our group is very welcoming, and that's a good thing, but there have been experiences that we've had that sometimes that could, like, we might, like, attract people that can be potentially harmful and don't always have the best intentions. I feel like you have a lot to say, even though you haven't been with us for a while. You do have a lot to say.
I am currently the core of the current situation, but it's fine. We're getting through.
Well, yeah, like, you gotta be cautious on that. I've had situations like that in the past. Because, like, when you're nice to everybody, some people can exploit that. Which is something that I've experienced before. I wouldn't say it's a double-edged sword, but, like...
I feel like you'd rather be nice to someone and then regret it later that you were nice than not be nice and then regret that you didn't, like you weren't nice. I feel like it's better to be nice in the first place and then later maybe you think that you were too nice to the person or the person exploited you, than if you were like, it was worse if you hadn't been nice in the first place. I hope you get what I wanted to say.
Like the whole thing of being open, like is something to not regret, but it's something to protect.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's something to be said about like approaching those types of situations. Like at the end of the day, like their actions are a reflection of who they are, not who you are. So just because you have like a bad experience with someone doesn't mean you have to change your entire personality.
No.
Due to like a lack of trust that you might build up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense because I feel like, in high school and like, years prior, I felt people definitely exploited that, my openness. So then I became more reclusive and I, just came so much into myself that I like didn't feel, I didn't really, it got to the point where I had to be like, I can't live in this like shell anymore. It was around the time that I met you, actually.
Yeah.
It was all your fault.
My fault.
Around the time that I met him, and I was like sitting to myself wondering like, why does this person like want to be friends with me? Like, I feel like we all have that like in the back of our mind sometimes. Like, well, why does this person want to be friends with me? It's not always a why, but sometimes it's like we forget our need, like our human need for social connection and diversity, for things to be different is where we thrive. Not to say that like having like a being in a homogenous group is I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but we forget that I think like getting in like a homogenous group, and by that I like when I define that I mean like hanging around like people that don't really like challenge you or like that don't like challenge your cultural narratives or biases. That's what I mean.
Boring people. You just mean boring people.
Borrowing?
Boring.
I guess so. I guess I'll say that. But like people that don't sort of challenge you in that way, I think there can be like some benefit of sameness and, relating to them. But I think at the same time, at least in my experience, I've benefited so much from just having like a diverse group of people. And I don't know, I'm glad that I became open to it. I still like the friends that like I've made like over the years. I still talk to them, like even though they're in like different countries. I miss them so much though. But even though they're in different countries, I think having global relationships is also important because we're becoming a more global society.
And you guys should all do a semester abroad if you have the chance. So mine just started, but
I'm actually
I'm
thinking about it. I might go to England.
No, go to Dortmund University.
After I graduate here, I'm going to Germany.
Yes.
For grad school.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But also like at the same time, like I've realized that like how much like I don't know. Like, if you have like that one friend that like likes to teach you about our culture, I feel like it's good because like for me it helps. Like I think I can just like we had like a lot of conversations about like how different like my culture is from your culture, Angie. So I just like it was like having that person that like is comfortable in their own culture and secure in their own identity, being able to teach that to you is like very like beneficial.
What do you guys say? Did you have a feeling sometimes that you weren't really fitting into your own culture, like your own group? Is that something you experienced so far?
Fitting into a group?
Yeah, fitting into your like own group, like for example, as a black man not fitting into the black community sometimes, or as a German person, I sometimes like feel like the Germans are a bit weird and I don't really fit in. But then when I'm here, I have so many things where I'm like, oh, at home this is so different, and
well, actually,
like
that's actually a really good discussion.
I get that. I'll go to mines later.
Oh, okay. Well, I am Italian. I'm like kind of split to where my mom's side is Italian and my dad's side is German. So I lean more into my mom's side of Italian because this is more I've grown up on. And I went to Italy last summer. Whoa. It was so cool. But it was really cool to see I had like authentic Italian and people who speak like Italian. So that was really cool to see. So I'll be able to learn more about my mom's side of culture. It was really, really cool. And I do want to go to Germany as well at some point from my dad's side.
So in culture, the way I see culture is that there are subcultures.
Yes.
And me and Royce had this conversation. As young black men, we don't fit into the stereotypical young black male culture of, whether it be like people assuming that I've had like questions like I've had people like assume that, oh, like you're good at basketball, like whatever the heck.
You're
like, what?
not good at basketball?
I don't go anywhere near
How dare
basketball.
you.
No, this man can hoop.
Yeah, but I don't like, you would never see me like play football, play basketball or whatever. It's just not my thing. You would not catch me throwing a ball. If I do, I will hit it will hit somebody. Like, so people think, people like even like at the workplace, people can assume that I'm ghetto or whatever. It's just all these assumptions as well. People like pigeonhole you, but people are like, even if I call someone, people and they meet me, they will be like, well, what on earth? Like, you don't sound like you look or whatever. Like, they expect me to sound a certain way. And within the like African American community, there's like different cultures, like subcultures, just like in any ethnicity. Like, I can't like expect Vern to know Japanese, or I can't expect Vern to be a certain way because some part of like your culture is like that. Every human has a lot of complexity to them. And, I can't expect, there are a lot of things that I expected like with you. Like, initially I didn't think you would mesh well with me because I'm African American, but I can't I can expect that, but at the same time I have to be open to different.
Yes.
Yes, I've experienced, like, especially in high school, because it was predominantly African American. I didn't always fit in with the fellow African American students because it was just, what was in that subculture of that high school community I didn't fit into. And I did feel like insecure in my race. You can like kind of go into that spiral of, and me and Royce have had these conversations of like, does this mean that we're not Black? Like, no. The problem is we have a definition of what, like, we take a subculture within a community and define it for the whole entire culture. We take the subculture and define it for like the whole entire culture. And we say, this is the culture. And we forget our complexities as humans. And we kind of like do a bit of damage when we kind of exclude people that we feel don't align with our idea of what a dominant culture is within an ethnicity. And that's when they can get kind of like off the rails. And that's where like, I've had people like ask me like, why are you going like camping or camping?
Oh, yeah.
That situation, it's
Yeah.
like, it's just, if you go a little bit outside of like the cultural norm, then you're somehow not a part of like the culture. And that's where we do harm to people, is where we're seeing our culture as very narrow, but really like there can be like a lot of like commonality with like traits in the African American community, but that doesn't mean like everybody like is like that.
Well, here's like, not everyone, everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. No one is the same. Even if it is like same culture, sure, but everyone's still different.
Yeah. I just like, I had a Hispanic friend in high school. She was really like the complete opposite of Angie. Not to put you on the spot. She's like complete opposite. But she's very fun. I love her. But
So you say Angie's
Oh,
not
thank
no, I'm not
fun?
saying she's not fun. That's not what I'm saying.
Holy
What I'm
shit.
saying is that she was a complete like opposite in personalities. What I'm saying is that I cannot expect, just because of like that experience, I can't like just because of that experience, I can't expect Angie to be that way.
Can you define what?
Okay, so I think I've talked to you about this, about the situation where she called me,
Wait, is it
Hispanic.
Nikki from Nicaragua?
No, not Nikki from Nicaragua.
Nikki from Nicaragua.
That's a whole story. That's another story.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
like Herman the German.
she called me, the
The slur?
yeah, the slur.
Yeah.
She called me that, but Angie, like, you don't do that.
No.
Like, I can't expect.
Okay.
And she was a lot more like kind of like boisterous and like, more like extrovert, if you will. Not to say that you aren't.
I mean, I
But-
feel like with my friends, I'm extroverted, but like, I don't consider myself an extroverted person. Like,
Yeah.
not entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, with my friends, if I feel comfortable enough, like, I can be that way, but I don't consider myself to just like, that's a defining personality trait. I also feel like generation has a lot to do with it. Like, obviously, I'm first gen born here. Like, you carry traits, yes, like from your cultural background, but you also have like traits of like where you are.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where it's like a common point of like difficulty and understanding for people of like, oh, like you're not just a certain way. Like you have a mix of different things
Yeah.
and you have to adapt to that. I feel like something very, very common in like a lot of Hispanic communities is like, oh, like if like a child doesn't know Spanish, they're like looked down upon because it's like, oh my gosh, like you don't know your own language.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't understand that sometimes like parents who immigrate are like afraid of their children having like language barriers with the country that they're in. So sometimes they don't necessarily make point to teach them that, which like, you know, to each their own, you can see it however you want. But like I feel like I don't know, I feel like people just don't understand that there's a lot of complexity to these issues. It's not just like, oh, like a person has to be a certain way.
Yeah. For me, like I struggle because people like expect me to be like quote unquote ghetto, whatever that means. And just like they expect me to talk like yo, like I don't know. Like
Or like they say something you hear a lot is like whitewashed.
yeah.
Like, oh my gosh,
like
you're so whitewashed.
that's what I've gotten. Like me and Royce have gotten that like so many times. It's like can't even count the number of times we've gotten that. Like, oh, you sound white. And what the problem with that is that we're associating whiteness, quote unquote whiteness, with the certain way and how we talk and how we carry ourselves. And we're not seeing a person as an individual within a larger cultural context. And we're not allowing them to express their true identity and exist within a larger cultural context within that same culture. So I think that's when it becomes a problem. You know, just because you're like from a certain like ethnicity doesn't mean like you said that you're going to fit in.
Yeah. The culture doesn't define the person. Like it is a framework, like something that influences the person, but not something that defines the characteristics. I think what's interesting, what Angie said, that she's like in her friend group, she's like an extroverted person, outgoing person, but like more quieter, introverted person, generally speaking. I would say it can also have the opposite effect on people that are more extroverted. With people they feel comfortable with, they can just chill out and be like quiet. Like when I'm with my girlfriend, we can just sit there and do nothing. Like it's totally okay. And I feel like in a great friendship group, like the extroverted people can be introverted and the introverted people can be extroverted. And it's not weird. Strength of a relationship or a friendship.
Yeah. And there's like another thing with diversity is not just culture, but personality, like differing like things like that. I've had to, because sometimes like I would like invite people and then they would just kind of like, they would be present in whatever we're doing, but they would be doing like whatever, they would be kind of like close it. So for example, like JD, like he's just a natural introvert. He's not gonna be like so boisterous or extroverted. And then also had to deal with people that like constantly talk, the extroverts that constantly talk. And like Nicholas, he has like the gift of what people say, the gift of gab. Like he talks a lot. And I've had to be okay with that. Like, but it's also like good for me because he calls like a lot and, you know, just he's very like, he initiates and he's like, oh, I'm just going to come over to the apartment to play Uno. Like, I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have people that were like, so like being like so initiative and social like connections. I feel like you have something to say.
Yeah.
Are you gonna burst out? Are you gonna explode?
I'm just gonna implode right now here. So literally, think preschool to high school, I have had at most 10 friends, and 2 of them are still friends. I never really experienced culture. I don't think I actually knew what it was until I took sociology my senior year of high school. So I have always just looked at people as people. I have not I never was like, oh, you're this color, or you act like this, so you have to be this. It's always like, oh, you're nice, we're cool, or oh, you're mean, stay away from me. It's never been like, I'm expecting something of you because you're this.
Yeah, right. All right, so Angie and Alex have to leave, but we'll wrap up shortly.
Bye.
I think
It's nice meeting you, Alex.
in a wider, wider culture, broader cultural context. There was like a study or something, a prediction about the U.S. that the U.S. would be like 50% like diverse by like 2050 or 2030. I don't know. Bye. So there's that. Like the U.S. will be like 50% diverse or whatever, or non-white. I don't know. Nanny. So yeah, I think that I find that interesting because the world, like we're becoming more like intercultural, and I think having friends from different backgrounds is just a way to just be okay with that. Doesn't mean there won't be like any like conflicts or anything. Like we've had to have like a lot of conversations with Alex about like, hey, like, I've had to like teach him like even about like African textured hair. Like I feel like we have a lot of conversations with him about African textured hair. So there's like so many different things that happen, and it doesn't mean it's bad. I will say, ask questions. If you're like curious about something, ask questions. Don't assume that you know something about their culture.
A couple of days ago, when me and Z, who both have textured hair, we were with Olin, who has very straight, short hair. We were like, Olin, we need to go to the Walmart because we need to get hair product. And he said, why? He was genuinely confused as to why we would need hair product. And we took him in the aisle and we were like, look, this is what we have to do to maintain hair.
Yeah, I've taught Alex a few things. Like I've literally like done my hair. Like sometimes like I'll purposely like do my hair. Even like tonight I might do my hair in front of y'all because like that like it's also community, but it's also like it teaches people stuff. Like people don't learn like if you tell them. Like I feel like if I explain it to Alex, he'll be like, "What the heck are you talking about?" Like, but if I show it to him, if I like do my hair in front of him, he's like, I understand now. I'm starting to get hungry. So
I'm getting tired of speaking English all day. I speak English, obviously, and my English is, I guess, it's pretty good. But if you have
really
to,
good.
if you have to speak or listen to a foreign language 24/7, it's just exhausting. And I reached a point where I feel like my brain needs a German break. So I need to listen to a German podcast or something, whatever.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking to you. It was fun, and I didn't expect it at all. But I had a great day because of you.
Thank you.
Probably. You also found me this morning and were like, "Hey, you want to go see Dr. Paul?" And I was like, "Sure." And then you were like, "Hey, let's go podcast," and I was like, "Sure."
I do random things. I can be like very spontaneous sometimes.
It's an understatement.
Well, I guess it could be. Like today, I was like, "Hey, everybody's coming to the apartment for study night." Then like everybody's just like, "Yeah, like everybody wants to come now." Everybody wants to come.
Like, yeah, I'll be there.
So I got to make Korean beef later.
The whole Robert Morris University will be at your apartment this night.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm starting to like accept this part of my personality because like I wasn't always like accepting of it. I thought people thought like I'm just like a weird creep, but it's not like weird. It's just part of who I am. And that's something that I just like to bring people together. So yeah. Like I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. Do you guys have any last words?
Sure. Because I'm going to force you to watch this or listen to this, mother. Hi. Love you. This has been great, Micah. This has been quite lovely. I've enjoyed my time here.
I need to eat something before I like.
Micah's actively dying.
I want to say I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope to maybe have another one, and I'm looking forward to some adventures with the new friendship group, I guess.
We will do many adventures.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. My brain's tired. I wanted to say something smart, like, well, diversity does not define your person, but it's a framework. Like I said earlier, I think we've had enough of it. So I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time on the pod when I'm there.
Audio.
All right, this has been Men's Couch. We are over and out.